body parts.
That's right. They've had, they've done some grave robbing, haven't they? It's all admitted.
Why do they do that? I mean, what's the thing with the body parts?
It's like totems of power. They believe it gives them power, and it's kind of a whole death motif. It's kind of necrophilic. They're sick.
But Skull and Bones may be even more sinister than a mere society of body part collectors. I may be getting closer to the Illuminati.
There has been investigations of Skull and Bones, and what they find out is that was brought to this country from Germany, and that it is actually known as Chapter 322. And it appears to be an Illuminati cell.
Well, so far so good. But I can't feel I can understand the Illuminati properly without meeting a member. And I've been made an offer I can't refuse. The English county town of Hertford was way down my list of likely centres of Illuminati activity. But I've made contact through a website with a man called Tim, who says he knows a member.
I'm taking you to meet Mr. A. So, you're about to meet an Illuminatus. And it's probably worth pointing out that this is the first time an Illuminatus has spoken on record for 3 centuries.
The rendezvous is a remote industrial estate where, on a Saturday afternoon, Mr. A knows there will be no industry.
I suspect that the reason why Mr. A has chosen this location above any other is its seclusion. It really is in the middle of nowhere.
Tim abandoned us and left to pick up Mr. A. Originally, there'd been a Mr. B as well, but he'd pulled out a week earlier. Would Mr. A do the same? The Illuminati seemed to be slipping from my grasp. But I soon learned that even the experts have exactly the same problem.
The Illuminati transcends political lines and religious lines, and therefore it's really hard to point the finger at any particular person or any particular group and say, this is the Illuminati at work.
Well, that certainly seems to be true. But then I remember something that Galen Ross had shown me back in Austin.
Thanks. So what are you working on?
It was a bit of a breakthrough.
Well, the current book that I'm working on...
Galen told me that he'd come into possession of a document that proved the Illuminati's existence beyond doubt.
This is like a full-on command centre.
Yes. Now, I do have evidence that there is an official Illuminati organization.
So this is actual evidence of the Illuminati?
That's correct. And this I got from a friend who has the actual document, and he ran me a copy of it. This is a membership certificate of this person named Higgins that was made a lifetime member.
Illuminati, a recognition of the divine brotherhood, objects, the discovery, accumulation, and diffusion of knowledge. It's really worth having.
Yeah, if you're a member of that, it opens the doors to you to as much as your imagination will allow.
At last, I've seen some evidence of the Illuminati's existence, even if it is just a slightly poor photocopy. And now I'm told of another place where the Illuminati meet up. It sounds like a sort of Illuminati holiday camp. Bohemian Grove. What is Bohemian Grove? Well, it's an annual gathering of some of the most powerful men in the world, in the middle of a forest in California. It's media tycoons, captains of industry, presidents of the United States, that sort of person. And just like Skull and Bones, the whole thing is shrouded in secrecy and mystery.
High-level members of the Illuminati, of the elite, of the global crime syndicate meet with lower level members, and basically it's like a corporate crime seminar. They are there planning the course of the world.
In July of 2000, Alex Jones smuggled himself into Bohemian Grove.
All the evidence is right here, exposing the Illuminati, their different allied organizations. It's all on the website. This is George W. Bush and his father giving speeches. And then here's Richard Nixon. And here you have President Jimmy Carter.
It's at Bohemian Grove that Alex Jones insists the Illuminati hatch their plots.
It's how to set up the world government, what they're going to do, what their plans are. And here you have
Under the gaze of a giant concrete owl called Molech, Alex Jones secretly photographed the mock human sacrifice that launches every gathering.
This is a shot of the high priest right here over the flame with the people in their black and red robes. There are a bunch of different rituals that they do, and they're inducting a member in a mock human sacrifice. And
where's the giant concrete owl?
Molech.
Molech.
Right here. You see the owl right there. And it was quite chilling, though, I can assure you. If your neighbor was doing simulated sacrifices in their backyard, was worshiping Molech and doing a mock human sacrifice of a child, would you let that neighbor walk your dog? Would you let that neighbor babysit your child? Would you let that neighbor run your country?
Hartford again. Still waiting for Mr. A.
I've dropped off Mr. A. He hasn't got a lot of time, but I know exactly where we need to go and meet him.
For some reason, Mr. A has now chosen another industrial estate to meet us at. It's all very cloak and dagger, or maybe just a wild goose chase.
We need to make absolutely sure that that Mr. A cannot be identified from this interview. I can't stress strongly enough the importance of concealing his identity. The thing about the Illuminati, they're famous for these terrible, blood-curdling, horrific forfeits that they warn any member will suffer who gives away their secrets.
As Tim abandons us again to pick up the elusive Mr. A, we explore our second deserted industrial estate of the day, now reflecting that our pursuit of the Illuminati might be a little dangerous.
You don't want to mess with these people.
You really don't know. These are... in the United States, we have the Mafia, which is pretty mean group. The Illuminati put the Mafia in the shade.
Oh, really?
And almost everyone that learns about what I do says, "Why are you still alive?"
I want the Illuminati and the globalists to know that there are many of us that are willing to sacrifice our lives, that are willing to go to your camps, that are willing to die. I did get threatening phone calls from people calling up with a voice changer. "Mr. Jones, it's time for you to back off." And at that point, 4 guys came up and surrounded me. And they said, "You better back off, you better stop what you're doing." And I go, "I'll never stop. You guys are destroying humanity. I mean, it's my instinct to fight against tyranny." And one of them pulled out a little double-edged knife. And the big one, one of the bigger ones, slugged me right in the nose and broke my nose, and blood began spraying. But I'm not a badass, but I can stick up for myself, especially in a situation like that. All of us can. And so I viciously began attacking them.
I know that they have lots of records on me and that they're monitoring me. And
how are they doing it? Is it electronic?
yes, they have antenna arrays that monitor all electronic signals. If you use the right combination of keywords, like if you say murder, dynamite, blow up, kill, assassinate, then these computers will immediately transfer that conversation to a person sitting at a desk.
So they know I'm here now?
Absolutely.
Just seeing if I can see them.
I've still never seen an Illuminati. Or is it Illuminatus? But now I'm told of yet another organisation that this most secret of societies has infiltrated. The Bilderbergers. Every year the Bilderberg group meets for a few days in 5-star accommodation, amid 10-star security. The Bilderbergers held their first meeting in 1954 in a small Dutch town, in the Bilderberg Hotel. Since then, their annual meetings have attracted many of the most powerful men and women on the planet.
These guys really do run the world. Lords and the heads of the biggest banking dynasties, and Dutch and British royalty, and Rockefellers, and secretaries of states, and UN secretary generals, and German chancellors, and the head of the House of Saudi going and attending this meeting.
Many believe that the Bilderbergers form the most powerful organisation of all. That they are the Illuminati in disguise. I've come to Washington, D.C., capital of the world's richest and most powerful nation. But how much of its power lies with the Illuminati infiltrators of the Bilderberg Group? American Free Press journalist Jim Tucker has battled the Bilderbergers for most of his life. He also battles those who don't share his less than flattering view of them.
What the hell do you mean, innocuous group? You think they're getting together to play pinochle? If you had the brains God promised at Grindstone, you'd be all over this damn story. You're a journalistic whore. Bye. Bilderberg's motivation is to control the entire world. They're drunk with power. And they see themselves as masters of the globe. It's their plantation. We're their slaves.
And the secrecy with which the Bilderbergers surround themselves generates endless suspicion.
You have the people who are making public policy outside the purview of the public. And it really makes a mockery out of the idea of freedom and democracy.
A founder member of the Bilderberg Group is one-time Labour Chancellor of the Exchequer, Dennis Healey. What did he have to say about its obsession with secrecy?
It wasn't secret, it was private. We didn't want the press there because we wanted people to be able to talk freely.
Jim Tucker has tried to infiltrate Bilderberger meetings year after year.
But of course every now and then some journalists would find there was a conference and sometimes try to get in, and of course he was thrown out. And of course there were people of utter unimportance.
Dennis Healey is cute. He is real cute. They don't meet to play pinochle for 3 days. If they didn't have impact on public policy, they wouldn't bother meeting.
Absolute bunkum. I never heard such nonsense. Tony Blair attended the Bilderberg meeting before he became Prime Minister. Bill Clinton attended the Bilderberg meeting before he became President of the United States.
And it's significant that they attended before the meeting, so it's kind of like...
They're vetted to become, to be allowed to become the leaders of their nation. That is utter bunkum again. They decide who will go to war, where the wars will be, how long the wars will last, who will finance the wars.
Bunkum. I've never heard such crap in my whole life.
But Galen Ross doesn't think it's bunkum or crap. He's compiled a book listing the names of the secret rulers of the world. It includes the Bilderbergers.
I published the first edition of Who's Who of the Elite.